Welcome back to Comic Shop Talk, everybody, on the Late Night Collectors community. I'm your host, Nico, and joined with me today, as always, is my co-host, Chris. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, living life. How about you?
Yeah, not bad. Doing my thing. I'm off for the next few days, so I'm really looking forward to that, and looking forward to talking some comics with you tonight, as always. As you know, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Once again, make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you like what you saw here today. If you like this show, hit us up in the comments. Keep the conversation going with us. Hit the like button. Hit that notification bell to be notified of when these shows drop every week. And normally they drop every week on Saturday. And as always, we're going to see some images of the comics here today. We're going to be taking a look at some of the inside of the book, some of the art. We're going to be talking about what happens in the books. There will be spoilers. We try to, if our best, maybe sometimes if we want to avoid certain ones and not spoil it for you guys. But if you're afraid of that, read your books first, then come back and check out the episode or navigate through the episode using the show notes. If you want to kind of avoid certain things that we talk about, you can always look there in the description of the video, and that's very helpful as well. This week, we're going to be talking about the new comics that came out for the week of July 27th, 2022. I don't know. Also, I do want to mention there is a new video that just dropped in the feed. By the time this airs, it'll be it would have dropped a couple of days ago. It's a new episode of Trade Talk. That's right. It's the triumphant return of Trade Talk that used to be an audio podcast only that I used to do prior to doing the late night collectors community stuff over on the Late Night Chat Network YouTube page. I used to do an audio podcast called Trade Talk where I'd do reviews essentially of like new books that I had read, like graphic novels, like collected edition paperbacks of certain things that I had read every week. Me and Peter, who's been on Cracking Packs for the chat over here, you may have seen him on episodes of that over here on the Late Night Collectors community. We got together and we discussed the book The Last Ronin that just came out with our hardcover. That's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin. So we got together, we read that, we gave you a little review on that, and we kind of did like a deep dive discussion, talked about each issue in the series out of the hardcover that we both read. So if you guys want to check back in the feed, check the playlist out. Is in the Trade Talk playlist. It's a new video that just came out here on Late Night Collectors community. So yeah, we're talking comics. And who knows? We'll see. Well, maybe we'll have to incorporate that in again, maybe even with me and Chris, if you end up reading anything in like collected form there, Chris. I know you've started to get a few paperbacks yourself there. So
Yeah, I did pick up. I think I read some of the was that War and Pax or War and Peace, the Maestro. It's not too bad. I got another one to read there too. Looking pretty good.
yeah. So yeah, and then maybe we'll have to do one of those as well at some point. But yeah, because I don't always read just single issues. I also read a lot of books as well, as you can see behind me. They're not just for show, everybody. But anyways, with that all being said, Chris.
All right, let's talk comics.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
All right. First up on the docket this week, we got Detective Comics 1062. Got this cover here. Yeah, very cool looking cover. This is the first issue of the new creative team that started at the same time as like Zdarsky over in Batman. We got Ram V as the writer on here, and Raphael Albuquerque, Dave Stewart on colors. And then we also got a backup story by Cy Spurrier and an artist named Danny. What'd you think of this, Chris?
Was, to be honest, it didn't really impress me much. It was a good story. I'm expecting a lot of big things from here, and maybe they're just kind of it's almost like an alpha issue. Just kind of give you the lay of the land and see where things are in Batman's life.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Raphael Albuquerque, the artist in this. That's not the problem on this book, but I agree it wasn't as great as a start as maybe we had come to expect from the fact that they announced this big new creative team and direction for Detective Comics. Clearly, they're going for a theme and a look. They are going for more of like a horror toned story so far, I'd say, for Detective Comics. But I mean, even in comparison to the first issue from Zdarsky's run over in Batman, this wasn't as impressive, let's say. But I got to say, the most interesting thing about this issue was the fact that one of the focuses of the storyline, maybe moving forward for this run or for this arc in particular, is that he's getting older and he's struggling maybe a bit more with these new challenges that are coming his way. I think if they focus on that aspect of it a bit more, that could be very interesting, because I don't know if it's been done with Batman before, but not enough as of lately, I would say. So I think that would be an interesting thing to delve into a little bit more. Yeah, as you can see in the art here, he kind of, after he gets his ass handed to him by some like ancient creatures that Talia warns him about, seems like they possessed, like, I don't know, one of the crime lord guys in his city, and he's like, I don't know, like undead or zombified or something. I don't know what the hell was going on there with him, or if it was even that guy. It was just a creature trying to make it look like he was that Maroni dude. But he goes back and he starts running all these tests. He's all worried. He says, yeah, I felt like I was like 3 seconds behind or something like that the whole time. What do you think about that point of the issue, Chris, about him getting old?
That's, it's something to see. Like I say, this did get me back buying Detective Comics. They took a break from that from this issue for a while, and I'll see where this stuff goes. I like seeing Nightwing in there, and he seems to have a more responsible role here. He's not portrayed as like a little sidekick kid or anything like that. So that's good.
Yeah, it's also kind of not 100% clear to us right now, but it seems like he's being haunted by something. There's like a haunted music box or something that he's in possession of. And I don't know, there was like some, old ancient type foes that might be coming for him. So I don't know. It's not so clear what's going on in here. There's a lot of foreshadowing done in this issue.
As long as it builds up to something good, then we'll see how it goes. I'm on board for the next few issues at least.
Same. I'm not completely sold either, as are you, Chris. And I'll read the next couple to see where this goes. But with there's being so many Batman books out, you know what I mean? Like if this doesn't,
I gotta pick the good ones.
Yeah, if this doesn't tickle my fancy, so to speak, in the next couple, it's on the chopping block. Let's just say that right now. This backup was no good either. I didn't like the backup, the Gordon backup. I don't know. It was kind of, I don't know what the fuck was going on in it, to be honest with you. It was okay, but it was. Yeah,
I think it's the fallout of the Joker War or whatever, the Joker series. So
that's what I had assumed, and I felt maybe I was missing a little bit there, because he's not commissioner anymore.
No, he's not commissioner. I think he's going into business for himself as a private eye or something.
Okay, so maybe that's on me a bit, because I was kind of playing catch up when they mentioned that.
Doesn't make it any more interesting.
Yeah. All right, so what'd you give this one?
I'll give it a 3.5.
Same. Yeah, it was all right, but it wasn't a highlight of the week, that's for sure. All right, so next up we got Iron Cat number 2. Okay, you got that cover? Yeah.
All
right.
The cover there. So this is one of my favorite comics when Iron Cat number 1. And this sort of continues the pace. It's a lot of backstory between, I guess, Black Cat and I forget what her name is, the enemy in this story here.
Her ex-girlfriend, essentially. Yeah, I don't remember her name either, but it's a woman that she used to work with, I guess, in the Thieves Guild, and it was also her ex-girlfriend. She met.
Yeah, did you read this one as well?
Yeah, I read this.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah,
I didn't mind the story there with her going in to get that what's that, Madam Menace. It kind of explains how she kind of beat all of Stark's tech, and I don't know, they're looking like they're going to be building into something here, and I'm still down for it. It's nice to see them out on the boat there where they're trying to lure the villain into a trap, and it seems like the villain might have a trap laid out for them as well. So we'll see where this goes.
Yeah, I think I liked the first issue a bit more than this one. I felt this that came as a surprise, where this one, it kind of spun its wheels a little bit, because it delved more into the continuing story about her past with this woman, which, I get that's the story they're going for and everything, but I felt it just didn't move forward that much. I mean, he did find out, like you said, there's that girl who's an ex-girlfriend of Tony's. They basically have exes basically after them at this point in this story. Tony had her, and he's like you said, he's trying to figure out like how they hacked into his system or whatever, essentially, right? So I don't know. I did like it. I'm definitely going to continue with this series. I'm reading it digitally. I'll definitely pick up the trade, because I've liked all the Jed MacKay Black Cat stuff. I collect them all in trade, and yeah, it was okay. But I wanted to see a little bit more progression. I guess we'll see the next issue.
Yeah, that's what I'm figuring too. I think there's good things ahead. I imagine Black Cat's going to end up in a Tony Stark suit of armor soon enough, and be nice to see that happen.
Yeah. So what'd you give this one?
I'll give it a 3.75. I did like it, but it wasn't anything spectacular.
I'm going to stick with the 3.5 for this as well. So that's Iron Cats. All right. Next up, we got Venom number 9.
Venom 9.
You got to, okay. So I put the art together now for the show here, guys. And this is not one that I've been reading. You got to tell me what the fuck's going on in this book.
I know. Did you read this one here? Because this one is a crazy one.
Okay, I might have to. So I didn't read it. I put the art together for the episode here. See, but I was just looking at some of the images from the book, like some of the art, and I was like, I have questions. Like there's some great. I mean, first off, the first page you see Kang, which I love Kang. I love me some Kang.
Yeah.
But like after that, there's like jacked up versions of Venom. I don't know what the hell's going on in this book. So let me know what's going on here, man.
I don't know if I can explain what's going on in this one here. This one sort of explains a lot of the crazy stuff that happened in issues like 1, 2, 3, 4. Because there's been kind of a whole bunch of Eddie Brock's running around. And in this issue, it's revealed that there's Meridius, which seems to be the ultimate bad guy here. He's been going back in time, posing as Eddie Brock. And then Eddie Brock himself has been going back in time as himself, taking over like bodies as himself to try and warn his son Dylan about, about trying to stay safe. He's telling him not to bond with the symbiote. And, he sets him up, or he sends Dylan to this Archer person to kind of protect him. But then in the future, Eddie Brock finds out that Archer betrays him, and that he gets into all sorts of trouble by joining the symbiote. And it's just and Kang's in there just trying to explain to Eddie Brock how time traveling works and what you can do and what you can't do. And somehow Meridius and Kang are in cahoots. And what Meridius is up to, you don't know. And then in other issues, there's a character Bedlam that was introduced.
Yes.
And at the end of this, you find out who Bedlam was, and lo and behold, it's freaking Eddie Brock somehow.
Okay.
So there's a lot of circular time traveling going on, and
all he had to say was time travel, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. Because when it gets to time travel, it gets wacky sometimes, right?
Yeah, when he goes back in time, he can't hold it as long as he likes. He gets into whatever he can do, and then he'll kind of just fall into, or he falls into the time stream again, and so he can't fully explain his situation. And there, I guess that's Eddie Brock killing his son because he sees this in the reflection, like he's inside, I guess, Bedlam's mind somehow, and Bedlam is killing Dylan Brock, so he can. It's almost like what's that? Being John Malkovich, where he could see outside his head, so he can see into his kid's eyes, and he sees the reflection of himself in Dylan's eyes, and that's freaking how it ends. And it's just crazy, but it's a good kind of crazy.
Yeah, being Eddie Brock over here.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
That's crazy, man. That actually sounds pretty fun, to be honest with you, the time travel aspect of this.
Yeah, it's a fun kind of crazy. It's not like, it doesn't look like it's trying to take itself super seriously. This isn't some crossover event that's going to have implications that change the Marvel universe. It's just Eddie Brock, being the King in Black, trying to figure out what he can do and what he can't do. And it sounds like being a King in Black, you can do a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
And it's a good issue. I'll give it a 4.
Nice.
The more I talked about it, the more I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I might have to check that one out. That does sound pretty good. I'm a sucker for time travel stories, especially with Kang involved.
Yeah, and this is going freaking eons into the future, and where Kang and Eddie Brock, or Kang's telling Eddie, oh, we're going to be great friends, or we're going to be great enemies. Oh, don't worry about it, and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And this Meridius guy, you don't know what he's up to and how long he's been around for.
He looks really cool. That's why I'm like, what the hell is this jacked up version of Venom? I didn't even know it was another.
Well, and then Venom, he can he's not really limited to his body anymore. He's limited to kind of his imagination. So I guess he likes being a jacked up juice bag. So
yeah. It looks like one of the guys that I just faced in a volleyball game that squashed us yesterday. Let's just say these guys should not have been in the beginner league. I'll leave it at that.
I got a bunch of sandbaggers, eh?
Yeah,
They want that T-shirt bad.
pretty much. All right. So next up, we got Superman Space Age #1. This is written by Mark Russell, art by Mike and Laura Allred. Mike Allred on art, Laura Allred on colors. The husband-wife team. I quite enjoyed this. This was like, first off, this is a $9.99 book, though, guys. This is an expensive book, so I think there's gonna be 3 of these. This is a DC Black Label book, but it's a regular sized issue, like not the ones that are wider in width, like not the magazine sized issues that Black Label sometimes chooses to do over this format. How they decide which books get in and which don't, I don't know. But anyways, there's gonna be 3 of these issues. It could be bi-monthly. I would think so, just because of the size of this. It's like an 80-page issue here. Like, this is a big chunk. Like, this is like a third of a like a graphic novel. Like, if you bought like the full hardcover collection of this. So this was quite the read. This and Spider-Man this week were huge. Like, they're the same size, essentially $10 issues, right? It was really good though. I like this. You might like this too, Chris. This is good because, like, what it was is like, it's basically, I don't want to say a retelling of his origin, although it's like a little different in the sense of like what they choose to focus on. It's not like a straight origin story. They kind of gloss over some aspects of Superman, like, and how he came to Earth and everything in here, and how he kind of ended up with the Kents. But not only that, it takes place in the 60s. And the focus is essentially just taking a good look at like Americana, like stuff that was going on at this point in time. So they talk about like Pa Kent here. Like, he gets into a whole story when he's trying to teach Superman a lesson, talking about when he was in World War II in 1944. So then part of the story goes into a war story. And literally, you and me were just having this conversation about how there's not a lot of war comics out there anymore. And like, between last week, the last Silver Coin issue, and there's some stuff in this week in the Superman issue, I was like, oh, I was really satisfied with them doing this kind of stuff. So they did that. There's things about JFK getting shot in this, and how kind of they reacted with the world around them, and how, like, Clark maybe reacted to that shit happening. There's like politics involved, things with the government, pop culture type stuff happening. So like, it's kind of like he's not directly involved with everything going on, but the writer found interesting ways to kind of work it into the storyline. And I'm a huge fan of Mike Allred's art. Your mileage may vary. I know some people like his stuff. Some people don't. He's kind of got a clean kind of line style, and it's like very like pop arty. Like, it kind of looks new age but old school all at the same time. I really do like his style though. So like, for me, this works. But yeah, like, yeah, see, they're reading the paper about JFK getting shot here, and then they do delve into like where he's from and Krypton, and as he goes, he has the Fortress of Solitude and stuff like that, and he talks about him starting at the Daily Planet. And then he meets this guy, this character. Like, when he starts off at the Daily Planet, they mention that he's writing, like, his first job is doing the news articles on like the kooks. I forgot what they call it. They call it like kooks and cranks, or they call it, basically it's some news. It's like some article, part of the newspaper where he has to go and talk to all the crazy people in Metropolis and like report back on, their stories, like kind of like, like the, those papers that they put out where it's like UFO sighting or something.
Yeah, like the National Enquirer type stories.
Yeah. So he's doing that. And then this guy tells him a story because he says he can see the future, where he basically predicts Crisis on Infinite Earths, and that's the Anti-Monitor in this scene. So he's telling him this, and Clark Kent's like, yeah, okay, buddy, like whatever. But then there's some things like he's telling Lois a story afterwards. He was so convincing in some of the things he was saying, and then like and then he said something about like bugs are going to take over the world or something like that. And then he says that, and Lois is like, yeah, it sounds crazy to me. And she kind of walks off. And then in the background, you could hear on the TV them talking about the Beatles, right. So like, yeah, things like that. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that happened in the 60s. They took over in terms of them coming to the America.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. So like, really clever, like, ways of working this into the kind of the storyline and stuff like that. And then like in this scene here, you could see Batman, like he's basically just making like he's like a Tony Stark of sorts. Like he's making like these bat suits, or well, they're not really meant to look like bat suits, but he's making kind of new weaponized like different suits and stuff and weapons for the military. And he's fighting for the wars, obviously the war effort, and he's fighting alongside he's fighting against Lex Luthor in terms of getting the contracts for these things. So yeah, just things like that. Really interesting stuff going on in this issue. And the Mark Russell is the same guy that wrote the Fantastic Four Life Story miniseries that I really liked over at Marvel. So he's kind of doing a little bit of that same thing here, because he kind of did that a little bit in Fantastic Four Life Story through the decades, kind of looking at like stuff that was going on in history, right? Yeah, like Lois Lane's reporting on the freedom fighters type stuff, you know, that's going on with the civil rights movement. And yeah, just shit like that. So yeah, really interesting. And then slowly towards the end, they start working in like Green Lantern and Wonder Woman. And by the end of the issue, you see them, the forming of the Justice League of America, like the first time that they actually are forming the Justice League. So like a really interesting, different kind of take. If you're a fan of American history type stuff, if you like Superman, I think this is worth checking out. If you're a fan of Mike Allred, the artist, absolutely check this out, because it's like 80 pages of his art in the first issue. So, or 70 pages, however much it is. So yeah, definitely worth the price tag, price of admission. And I look forward to the next issue. Really solid issue. Yeah, and I actually think I even like it even more just talking about it right here, right now, because it was a lot to take in when I first read it and I wasn't sure. But I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, 4.5. It was really solid. The more I talk about it right now, the more I liked it. So yeah, I'm just really cool. Definitely check it out, guys. And yeah. And then next up, we got Batman One Dark Knight 3. This is one of the magazine-sized issues from DC Black Label that Chris definitely does not enjoy. But
sick cover, though.
Yeah, cool cover. This is the last issue of this 3-issue series. This came out like, you know, I think it was supposed to come out bi-monthly. This last one maybe it took a couple of months to come out, but not too late. But yeah, this actually surprised me, because I was pretty down on this issue with the second issue. Down on this series with the second issue. But I figured I'd end it out because it's only a 3-issue series. The first one was okay, pretty basic Batman story. Second issue, I didn't enjoy all that much. This third issue is probably the best issue of the 3, and I thought it really kind of stuck the landing in terms of wrapping up the series. I really liked it. So basically, the story, for anybody who doesn't remember me talking about it, because it's been some months since the first one came out, Batman's basically taking custody, like they took custody of moving a villain from one part of the city to the other, essentially, and they got him like on the paddy wagon and stuff, and something happens. He's kind of tasked with taking him the rest of the way, and I think his name's like EMP or something, the villain. So he basically, his power, like he took out all the lights and the power in all of Gotham as a result of whatever went down, and then he has to kind of make his way through this dark city, fighting the gangs and the people that are after them and the people that are maybe trying to assist this guy getting loose. But then you find out there's like a whole corrupt Gotham City police type storyline involved by this last issue, and they were trying to fuck up this thing and it basically kill the guy he was trying to transport to Blackgate, I guess, in this series. And they figure this out, and Batman helps uncover the corruptness of the police force, or the one particular police officer that was trying to kill this dude that I guess had a beef with them for whatever reason, which I won't get into. And he ends up exposing her and taking her down by the end of this issue. But in the start of the issue, he gets his ass whooped by Killer Croc. Like, just I haven't seen him take a beating like this in a while in a comic, so it was pretty cool to see. Yeah, like they didn't shy away from that at all. So like by the end of it, like the cover would show like how messed up he looked up on the cover. Yeah, like as you can see, like ripped like a bunch of his cloth like from his ripped like, you know, costume across his face, like to bandage himself and like stop the bleeding and like cover his face still somewhat, because Croc just ripped the shit out of it. So yeah, and he ends up taking him down, and you know, like I said, he continues on his journey, kind of transporting this criminal across the city. But yeah, really great art. I picked this up for Jock, the artist. I do like his art. Again, not everyone loves his art style. I tend to like it. So if you like Jock, I think it's worth checking out. But he also wrote this series, and yeah, I think he's new to writing for the most part. He's mostly just an artist, I think, in previous things I've seen him as. So it wasn't bad. It's surprising end. I gave this a 4. I thought the ending was pretty solid. I would give the whole series maybe a 3.5 though. Like if I was going to rate the whole series, it was not bad. But again, there's so much Batman out there. So this didn't rise to the top, I would say, out of all that, but good ending. And next up, we got Deadly Class number 54. 2 more issues to go. 56 is the last one. And hold on, let me see what I wrote down about this one here. Yeah, I really enjoyed this issue as well. This didn't so much focus on like the storyline that they've been writing about these last few issues of like old assassins from their school, from these kids' school that they all kind of attended from their past, coming back to kill them. They touched on it a little bit at the start of the issue, like in this scene that I have up here. Like this girl is basically like her husband was taken out the last issue, and she was one of these assassins from the school when they were younger. And she goes to the New York Times and she's kind of spilling the beans about this whole conspiracy of these people coming down and killing them and tracking them down. And but coming at them with this story, and she has no proof. The New York Times is just like how can we print this? Like we can't. She's like, just look into it. Do me a favor, because I think she's less worried because like it looks like bad for them right now, right? And she's like, yeah, I listen. I'm not supposed to say it, but I attended some school that was like for assassins. But then they're like looking at her like, yeah, okay, like you know what I mean. So it doesn't. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. But then the rest of the story was focused. Actually, it was kind of like an autobio type deal, I would say. Rick Remender, the writer of this comic, had his dealings getting the show Deadly Class on Sci-Fi Network a couple of years ago, which is like a smaller network, I guess, in terms of content that's out there today. But in this story, the main guy, Marcus, who we've been following from the start of the series, the main protagonist, he finally writes something and he gets an idea out there and he pitches a show and gets them to buy it. And they allude to some other network in this that's like a Sci-Fi, and he's kind of like disappointed that it's like not a big network. And his friends, like his agent or whatever, is like, listen, it's like, you know how many people are pitching ideas out here? It's like they bought yours. He's like, just run with it. He's like, who cares? Like, just see where this goes, right? And you can tell that Rick Remender is clearly writing from his own experience here and kind of like, doing that sort of thing, like a little meta type stuff. And the character that comes out of the makeup room here, like the costume, has got his costume on, is a character from another series, one of his older series that he wrote back in the day, called Fear Agent. So like it's about a guy doing a show about a character that Rick Remender actually created in comics outside of this comic. So it's kind of cool. So he's obviously using his experience from doing the show with Deadly Class, which was not successful because it got canceled after one season, using another of his characters in the story that he's writing in Deadly Class. So it's kind of neat. Like I was like, okay, that's really cool. So like, I think if you know Remender's stuff and you're a fan of his work and maybe have an idea about all this kind of stuff, you get it. But if you don't and you read this, I don't think it would have affected the actual story at all. But it's just those extra little, if you know that kind of stuff, it's like a tip of the hat to all his fans and longtime readers like I am, right? So I was like, okay, that's really cool. So yeah, they kind of just focus on this guy going around, like they're scouting locations, and he's doing an interview for the show, and they're like, oh, what would your younger self think about this? And then like in his head, he's like picturing all his friends that he went to school with, all these like punk kids and stuff like that from his past who are like now dead. And so yeah, it's I don't know, man. I'm gonna be sad to see it go. This is probably one of my favorite series in recent years that's come out. But 56 issues when it's gonna be all said and done for an indie series, it's a lot. That's a really good run. Honestly, most don't make it that far. So I'm gonna give this a 4. This issue.
Nice.
All right. Next up, we got Public Domain number 2. Okay, so yeah, I got my issue right here. So why don't you go ahead and talk about this one, Chris?
Well, this book might be on the block for me.
Ooh.
Not that it's a bad book, but it just wasn't what I expected. It's an interesting story there with that creator of the domain and how he's battling for the control of it. But I thought this might have a bit more of a crossover type vibe, or some sort of superhero-y in there. Unless, there's going to be something built up later on. I may continue to read this, maybe online or something, but I don't know if I'll be buying this anymore. But it's still fun, it's still a decent story. It's interesting, holds your attention. And I don't know, maybe it's just not for me.
Yeah, no, that's a shame. I mean, I don't know if it's just general, like more creator-owned stuff you're not as interested in. I know you try some stuff out, some stuff you dig, but I think you definitely look more, I think, towards the superhero side of things. I would say generally, right, that you're more interested in reading when it comes.
Yeah, I thought there might be some, like, maybe not totally all into it, but like a little swerve, something happening.
Right.
Like, is this series like a limited series, or is this like a run?
So I think it is limited. I was going to actually mention that this episode. I didn't know this when we talked about it last issue, but I believe this is his Substack comic that they're now printing. So I think it's still coming out through his Substack news subscription thing that a lot of these creators are doing. And some of these series now we're seeing come to print. So I mean, like, because they're allowed to kind of shop it anywhere. So I think what I heard was this is his comic that he was producing and putting out on his own through that subscription.
So he's probably got issues in the bag already. Now they're just getting printed. That's it.
I think so. I can't see this being like I'd be surprised if this goes past 10, 12 issues personally. I would say this is probably one of those things where this would probably even be better in trade, like a big chunk. I'm not going to argue on that fact. But I'm still enjoying it enough to continue with it, me personally. But it definitely does play more as like a drama of sorts, or with comedic kind of moments. Like this, there were some funny moments in this, some funny dialogue, I thought, when they go to see the lawyer in this issue.
Yeah.
And I really dug it. I like this story. It is something I think that is obviously that's something that actually happens within the comic industry is creators feeling away about things they don't own rights to, or in this case does own rights to, but it got it taken away from him in a sense. So like, yeah, I liked it. I mean, I can definitely see that but it is definitely more of like I would see like dramatic kind of tone to it. If anything, like you can see like a drama on TV kind of maybe.
Yeah. That's like a slice of life sort of type of story.
Yeah. Which, I don't want all my comics to be like this. I even more so want to read more superhero stuff, but I like stories like this too. So I think I'm gonna stick with it. But I thought it was a great second issue. I think and this, they find the paperwork confirming that the artist is the owner, probably the creator and owner of this character, the Domain character. And they consult with the lawyer, and then they have to come to the terms if they did go up against the movie studios and everything, like they're going to spend years and years in court, and that the writer, I guess, is then tipped off, or the movie studio head, about like the fact that
that they have the contract now, and
because his son's an idiot, and to circumvent all that, one of his sons, I should say, he kind of jumps the gun and goes to the studio and like shows them the paperwork, and he's like, "Oh, can I have a copy of this?" He's like, "No, why would I do that?" And the guy's like taking pictures of the phone. He's like, "Oh yeah, no problem." He's like, "Damn it!" Like, what I mean? So I thought that was funny, and so yeah, like, and then this was my favorite scene though. This one right here, where he goes home, and his wife is kind of uneasy about everything they're doing with them going against this company and trying to get his rights to this character back. And the guy's like hemming and hawing. He's not sure if he should go the extra, mile for it or bother. And his wife is like, "Oh yeah, I left it in the usual spot, like his dinner when he comes home." And he's looking in the microwave, looking in the fridge. He's like, "Where the hell is it?" Right. And it's downstairs on his old drawing table for when he used to draw for the comic. And like he thinks back about all like the hard work he put in and time he spent away from his family to provide as a result of this character. So like that seems to like really hit home now for him by the end, where I think he might actually do something and pursue actually getting rights to his creation back as a result of all this. So I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, I am liking it, the story so far. I'm probably going to stick with it personally, but yeah, that's cool. So what would you give this then, Chris?
I'll give it a 3.5. Like, I do enjoy the story. I like his wife, trying to kind of explain why he should fight on for this, or kind of talking about how he's doing, how, they've kind of just towed the line the whole time. Now it's time to shake the boat a bit, or rock the boat a little bit. So
yeah. I'll give it a 4. I liked it. Okay, next up we got Strange number 4. All right.
Okay, I didn't get actual copy. I think I forgot to put this on my list, so I might have to try and hunt this one down.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know if you have to hunt it down. I might have copies at my shop there too. So you read it though. What'd you think of this?
Well, I like that Shadow Knight there. He kind of came out of nowhere, and I guess get some mommy daughter issues here that they delve into. Let's say,
Yeah.
it's still a fun issue. I like the magic going on there, and I think the art was good in this one here.
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of I'll follow along with the story. I'm liking this Strange.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it still too. Yeah, I thought the highlights of this is, yeah, you said, like, even if you're Clea, you still have a judgmental mother apparently who comes to crash dinner for them at the Sanctum Sanctorum. So that was pretty fun. And then I like these guys too, the Blasphemy Cartel, like the guys that were introduced in a earlier issue. These dudes that are kind of like militarized but magic users. They're kind of cool.
Yeah. What are they sending, like, some freaking, what was that gun they shot in there to shoot in the demon there? I think it's this one here, like when they go incoming, it's got like a rocket propelled
So I wrote it.
goblin or something.
I wrote it down because I thought it was really cool. Yeah, that's actually one of the things I wrote down. He's like, they end up shooting a rocket propelled genie at the same
Yeah, that's the rocket propelled genie.
I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh, that's really neat. Like, that's really inventive and interesting. Like, the shell casing just busts open and a genie kind of flies through the door. I was like, that's like an evil djinn. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
And also, I thought it's funny how they kind of still use the military terms after the fire in the hole.
Yeah.
Got a genie in there.
I mean, I'm thinking those are new characters that they created for this series, and I thought that I kind of dig them. I really like them, these guys, and yeah, and then you got like a Moon Knight type creature, Shadow Knight or something. He keeps saying, like, in this issue, which is pretty cool. And then by the end of the issue, what's his name? The Harvestman shows back. So basically, like, anybody she's tangled with so far ends up just everyone's just coming to crash the party as her mother is over. So yeah, it was a fun issue. I do like this series, as you said as well, and the art was good, and yeah, I'm sticking with it still. I mean, they just announced at San Diego Comic-Con that Strange is coming back in a miniseries, I guess, in the fall or by the end of the year, as we expected, obviously. But I mean, I think
Strange coming back as like in continuity, is there just like an old Strange story?
No, I think he is coming back, but he's not even coming back in the pages of this series at first. I think they're doing a mini series, I think it's like a 4-issue mini series of him coming back. And then I don't know what the future holds for him, but I mean, I think Clea, I would hope, is still going to be part of the picture. And I've been enjoying this series. I think the way they transitioned into this after the death of Doctor Strange storyline, I thought was pretty good. And I think this series has been holding its own.
I don't know. Maybe they're trying to keep Clea front and center for the new Doctor Strange movie, so people are familiar with her.
I think so. I think that's why, right? So, like, they may try to split them up into their own titles or something. Even who the hell knows, right? I mean, but 2 Doctor Strange titles in the stands, I don't know about that, but we'll see. And despite how much I love the character, I just don't know if I could see 2 Spider-Mans on the stands. I can see many X-Men's on the stands with 2 Strange books. I don't know, man, but we'll see.
That's a lot of magic.
It is, yeah. So what did you give this one, Chris?
I'll give it a 3.75. I was flirting with a 4 there because I did like it, but I'll just stick with the 3.75.
Read my mind, 3.75. I was actually flirting with the 3.5, but then as we were talking, I was like, yeah, you know what? Actually, I did like this a little bit more than I originally thought, right? Once we got into that whole genie stuff and all that, I was like, yeah, it was fun. So, yeah, 3.75. All right, Chris, next up. Action Comics.
Action Comics. Well, there we go. Get the comic book there. So it's the More Battle of Warworld. Looks like this is coming to an end. And I think this is also one of the announcements from San Diego Comic-Con is that they're adapting this into a movie or a animated movie, I think, Justice League Warworld.
Oh, interesting. I didn't hear that one. Okay, that's cool.
I don't know how they're going to do it because there's not much of Justice League in here. It's more Superman and I guess you could call him Justice League. It was the Authority that was in this one here.
That's right, because even the series that led into this change was the Superman and the Authority series that they came out with. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I guess we'll
So I
see.
think the battle for this, I guess it's going to be ending soon because I guess they're all making their plays to get power now, and they battle on. I think the big thing is now they have those star forges that kind of hold the planet together, and they're draining Superman of his powers. And I guess the plan now is to try and turn one of those star forges into I guess they're red forges. They want to turn it into a yellow forge that would give Superman his powers back, and it would also power up all the fallopians, the fallopians, or whatever they call them. So if they were to succeed in that, then you'd almost have a whole planet full of theoretically superpowered Supermen. And,
Right.
it might turn the tides of the battle if they can succeed in their plans. So basically, that's what's going on in this issue here.
Okay.
So it's moving along. I think it's coming. I think I have on the solicitations. I already have like the Superman War World Alpha. So we'll see how it goes.
Would you say now? I haven't. Maybe you've commented about this already, but just maybe not. But would you say this storyline's becoming a little bit long in the tooth?
Yeah, they stretch it out way too long.
Yeah, because it seems like even for me listening, you having to talk about it over the last us doing the show pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, it's been for a while. Like, when it first started, I thought it was great. Like Superman's being depowered. He's stuck in a bad spot.
Yeah.
But, just too much of this, hope. You got to, get your own freedom and all this sort of baloney. So I want to see him freaking power up and kick ass and get back to, and then die, it seems, because that's when he got plucked from in Justice League. Or the Justice League 75. He was kind of flying away after I guess, his victory there.
Right.
And otherwise, it's still good. I'll give it a 3.5. I thought it was a nice cover. The art's great inside. Story's moving along. It's just not moving along fast enough. And the good thing is the backup story is like directly connected to this story here. I think it's sort of what's going on Earth. They have this Genesis fragment that they need to use to build that yellow forge, and someone's come and stolen it. So Lois Lane had to call on I guess all the other super family had to come together. And that was a nice little scene there. You got Lois Lane calling for help, and I think John, Connor, and Supergirl, I forget what her name is, Zara. I don't know if she goes by Zara. Does she have an Earth name or not?
Right.
They all kind of come together to try and get this Genesis fragment back. Let's see. I'd give this. Did I give it a 3.5 already?
I think I did. Yeah.
Anyway, 3.5, 3.75. It's still moving along.
Okay. Next up, Deathstroke 11. Deathstroke Inc.
Deathstroke 11. Yeah, so year 1, part 2. I got one of the variant covers here.
Take a look. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
don't know if you can see in his the reflection in his mask there. Is that Green Arrow there? I don't know.
Green Arrow, yeah. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah.
But this is good. I think this is a good filler story because I guess they can't really be writing what's going on right now because of the Dark Crisis.
So I think Crisis.
I think there's a 4 or 5 issue arc, and it's going on I guess Deathstroke's first missions or the beginning of Deathstroke. So I think in this issue here, he's going up against all the scientists that I guess that turned him to what he was. I suppose that he was one of a group of hundreds of soldiers there that they were experimenting on. They all died, so he's trying to go out and get his revenge. He kind of hooks up with his old crew, and they set him up with this body armor because he's not, even though he's got some super healing and all that, he's not too sure about his, about taking bullets and all that sort of business. They kind of joke about being the orange there, so that's all fun stuff. And so he's going after the one head scientist, and they got him locked up behind, whatever, hundreds of armed guards, and Deathstroke starts going in there and doing his thing. And we keep on scrolling. Something blocks his barrel, and it looks like it's an arrow. There it is. And the last page looks like he's going to tangle with his first superhero, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's, that was, I wasn't expecting, I didn't really see Green Arrow in the reflection of his mask when I was looking at it. So it's always nice when you look back at the cover and go, hey, it means something. There's something going on in the cover that has something to do with the story. I always like that.
Yeah, I like Green Arrow too. So yeah, that's pretty cool that he shows up.
And yeah, I'll give this a 4. I'm liking Deathstroke. I've been liking it all the way through, even though he had some crazy issues. And it's still great art in there. And it's good to know that Deathstroke is also, it seems to be a player in this Dark Crisis storyline too. So
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
nice, nice. All right, next up, I got A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, which I'm just trying to bring the art up for right now. There we go. It's having trouble loading it there for a second. So yeah, this is the penultimate issue. I found out by the end of this one, which they mentioned like at the end, next issue is the last issue. I don't know if I knew that previously, but I didn't see this series going on for long, so I can't say that I'm surprised. And this is also by Remender, and like I said, in comparison to things like Deadly Class and like Black Science and some other series he's done over at Image the last few years, the last couple of things he did, like this and the Scumbag, which I think the last issue comes out next week or something like that, like it's nice to see him doing some smaller series, like some 10-12 issue type series that he's been putting out. Not everything needs to be like a 60 issue epic type story for things outside of superhero comics, right? But so I've been enjoying the fact that he's gotten a few smaller ones out the door, let's say. But yeah, this basically in this penultimate issue where we last left off, Buddy here that had moved to Mexico, and they had that whole nice issue where he's spending this nice day in Mexico together with the kid off the grid. They're away from their problems that they left back in the States and everything else. And yeah, the hitman that was after him tracked him down. So at the end of the issue, he goes into his home and he finds his mother there for some weird reason, even though she was left back in the States. He's like, what the hell are you doing here? And meanwhile, this guy is spying on them over the hill here with his crew there. And they've come to, take care of some loose ends, essentially, of this guy, this unsuspecting dude that came across a kid in danger, a family in danger, essentially, that were part of a hit, and took it upon himself to help these people out, even though he's not a trained hitman and he's been treated as such and had to, has been basically aiding them across the states. And then he was living with a militia group at one point, and where he picked up some skills, I guess, that he's able to put to use in this issue, because that's the only way I could see that he discharged a firearm like he did. And he ended up taking out a lot of the guys that attacked them in this issue, which I was surprised about, because this guy went from like zero to hero type thing in this series in 10 issues. Cause like this guy was just some guy. And he ends up taking like almost out all these assassins, essentially these hitmen that basically were out to kill him and this kid in this issue. But sadly, he ends up getting shot, and it doesn't look good for him. We don't know by the end of the issue whether he's dead or not, but the way he's bleeding out, it seems like he's dead. But the kid thankfully gets away with his mother. They get away, and he's left kind of lying there bleeding out. As you can see here, this guy, the hitman, made a call to like his boss or whatever, as he's this page was funny because this boss is sitting on like on a boat here naked with 3 women tied by dog chains. He's got some weird, perverse rich guy thing going on with these women on the boat somewhere. And he's kind of like, oh, did you get it done? And the guy's like, yeah, I don't know. There's some loose ends of the kid and his mother ran off. And then he like throws the boat over the side of so it looks like this guy's screwed either way, because it seems like his employer's pissed. But then some undercover dude, I guess, that's been tracking them across the country that caught wind of this, ends up taking out the hitman and takes the kid away, saves them. And we see this guy, his eyes are still open by the end of the issue as he's lying there bleeding out. And then it says next issue is the last issue. The cover of the next issue looks like it's the kid, but older on the actual cover. So I don't know what's going to happen, if the guy ended up surviving or not, where the trajectory of the kid is in the future, because by the end of this, he ended up surviving. He owes that guy his life. And it was just one of those things where like he's just trying to do the right thing. Good story, great art. Definitely a slow burn. I didn't know what to think of the series. As I said many times here on the show, the first half of the 10 issues, but I thought it really has come around the last couple. And I give this also a 4 out of 5. Good.
Nice.
Yeah. And next up, we got Harley Quinn 17. Yeah, this was okay. This was basically the end of the current arc, which has been my favorite arc probably of the book, other than that 1 or 2 issue storyline that you and me read, Chris, where you jumped on for a moment there, and that Poison Ivy storyline that they had. This was my favorite arc so far, I would say. All the stuff with Batwoman, as you mentioned, because you, I think, had read an issue of this as well, about how like that girl, basically the villain in this, what's her name here on the cover? Verdict is what they're calling her. Who was a cop that ended up having her team.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so she kind of becomes a villain of sorts to take out Harley and Framer in this. And this issue is kind of like the quick wrap up where she ends up taking her down. But by the end of it, it looks like this Verdict character might end up in that Task Force Z book, the one with all the undead people. Or it seems like that by the end of it, like it was like a Suicide Squad type moment where they like pulled up when she was getting taken away to go to jail, and it was just like, hey, we're Task Force Z, like, and so it looks like she might end up in that other title, it seems like. But yeah, it was just a quick wrap up, and I didn't feel it was as satisfying as probably the lead in to this storyline has been so far. And she took her down. Fun art. Riley Rossmo, though, it looks like will be leaving this series. I think he's going to be doing the new Tim Drake book, which I might check out, but I'm sad to see him go from this title. I think he fits Harley really well, the cartooniness of his art. And yeah, and at the end, her and Kevin, her friend there, are friends again, and everything's good. And he obviously lost his new love interest as a result of her turning out to be this person who secretly just wanted to take Harley down. So, but yeah, maybe there's a future for these two, as you can see in the panel here with the heart around them at the end. But I think this is just a good friendship between these two. So yeah, I give this a 3.5.
Nice. Well, I will be jumping in on Harley for, I think, the next run there. I think.
Yeah.
From Task Force.
Next week, I think they start their monthly event of her going into space or something like that, right? And a lot of really lot of a banger covers that we looked at it on the channel here in previous solicits, right? So yeah, that'll be really cool.
And if I was able to look at the issue, the art looks pretty good at it.
Nice. Yeah,
if I was able to.
Yeah, I don't think it's Rossmo anymore, but I'm sure.
No, it's not bad though. It's looking pretty good.
Good.
From what I heard.
Yes. All right. Next up, we got the Variants number 2. Chris, I believe you read this as well.
Yeah, I took a quick read of this.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I thought the first issue was pretty interesting. The second issue, I guess it lost a bit of steam, but I'm still liking it. But I'm not going out of my way to try and find these copies and buy them. I think it's an interesting story, seeing all these little variants there. And I don't know, I'm just not sure where it's going, I guess with the storyline where she's got the 24-hour or a couple days to live with that purple man is in her head, and basically a time bomb's about to go off. So it's interesting. I like seeing She-Hulk show up in there. I always like She-Hulk around.
Yes.
And see how it goes.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I felt like similar to Iron Cat, which these both came out on the first week. Both came out on the same week last time too that we talked about these. I might continue to read this digitally as well, but this one was I like this issue less so than the first issue, similar to Iron Cat as well, that came out the same week. Yeah, it was just okay. It was I did like the She-Hulk moment. That was probably the best. I thought this was wrong, though. This Daredevil scene, I didn't like this. That
must be one of the variants coming out. That can't be her.
It's not her, but it just still felt wrong. Like, and I guess that's what they were going for. And if that's what they're going for, like, mission succeeded, because like he's kind of like, yo, wait, hold up here. Like, he's like, how about Luke Cage? How about what you? Yeah. Like, how about your kid? Like, what are you doing? Right? Like, because she like full on grabs his crotch, like pretty much. There's like, well, like it's kind of like it's towards his crotch, like she's basically trying to grab his dick there. And
I think it was the Billy Club.
Well, I mean, we all know what she was going for. She wanted it. Like they're about to bang on this rooftop. I guess in whatever universe or whatever this variance from this Jessica Jones and Matt.
Maybe they were a thing there, and
because he sees her on the roof, he thinks it's Jessica, and he's like, "Hey, I've been watching what's going on. Are you okay? I'm worried about you." And she fucking just like totally pounces on him. She wants the dick. So then like, or the Billy Club, let's say, like Chris, but she, I don't know. But then he like turns her down and she's like, don't talk to me. Like, oh, like, I don't want to see you anymore. But fucking kick your ass, and she runs off. And I was like, what?
Yeah, like I don't know. That was just a crazy panel out of nowhere.
It was weird. Like, I don't know. I kind of didn't like it. Like, it was supposed to be like, if it was supposed to be like,
I don't know if this is supposed to be more an adult sort of, or like a storyline or something. I don't know, but it's touching on a lot of interesting things, though.
Yeah, like, but I just feel like if they were playing that scene to be more scintillating and all that, like, I didn't like, I didn't like it for that reason. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, if it was something, if it was mutual, it just felt weird because, like, it's not the same version of the character. Like, that would be an awkward conversation for Daredevil even to have with her after. Right?
Yeah.
Like the real Jessica Jones. I'm like, hey, so you're very.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That was just weird to me. I was just like, I don't know if I like this. And then they're trying to sell that on the cover too. So
that's the only thing. Like, you can't sell that on the cover from, just a freaking 4-panel misunderstanding, or variant encounter.
Yeah. So I didn't dig that. And at the end of the issue, another variant shows up, and this is actually Jewel. Jewel is what her alias was as a superhero. For anybody that doesn't know Jessica Jones, like, history, she used to be this superhero Jewel previous to her just being the PI Jessica Jones when she met Luke Cage and everything else, because they rebranded her as a Marvel Max series. Bendis, Brian Michael Bendis did years ago, and that's kind of the person who created this version of Jessica Jones that everybody knows from the show and everything else. But like previously, like, I think she was Jewel when the Purple Man abducted her, essentially, like, originally. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, it was whatever. But I really didn't like that Daredevil stuff, man. I don't know. Like, I think it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. She was trying to rub him the right way and rub me the wrong way. I was like, Daredevil. I was like, hey, whoa, I don't want this.
Well, he's seeing Elektra now. Elektra finds out he's finished.
That's right. And I think we're gonna be talking about two women fighting over somebody in a moment here in this next issue. So,
maybe 2 women and some arms.
So what'd you give this then, Chris?
I give it a 3.5. I'll still continue reading it online, but unless something like earth-shattering happens in there, I don't think I'll be searching out to buy these.
Same. Yeah, absolutely. Same. 3.5. And I won't be picking this. I'll read it online along with you if you continue, but I'm not going to. Yeah. Probably. All right. And lastly, Amazing Spider-Man 6, keeping in line with us talking about this book last as we normally do. Amazing Spider-Man 7, some of the best for last this week, as far as I'm concerned. Let's see what Chris had to say about this one. Now, this is the oversized issue. Again, I think it's like another 70, 80 page issue. Spider-Man, basically, issue 900 legacy numbering. So, yeah, what'd you think of this, Chris?
Well, I can say some things that I'm happy about. I'm happy they didn't have any sick variant covers, because this is a $10 cover or a $10 comic. And if I had to buy 2 or 3 issues because he had, some super crazy covers, I would have been upset. But for a 900 issue, I thought they'd get some decent variant covers, but none of them really were out there or or were super special. But as for the story itself, I felt they kind of just shoehorned a one-shot issue in the middle of this arc. And that's one of the issues I had with it. Otherwise, I thought it's a great story. Just kind of trying to find out what the essence of Spider-Man was, and the way they used, all these old some classic characters, all the Sinister Six. Kind of bringing everybody of the whole almost everybody of the whole Spider-Man sort of legacy. It's nice seeing the party there, kind of who's involved in Spider-Man's life. I have no idea. Is that Bobby, like Mockingbird Bobby?
Yeah.
Did they have something going on? Did I miss this around, or she just come out there out of the blue?
So as far as I know, they don't have a history that I'm aware of, but that's what was interesting about this, because Black Cat is just like right on it. Like, she feels intimidated by
oh yeah.
He's like, no, I take care of Peter. Like, back off, get your own sandwich.
Does Bobby know? Does Mockingbird know who Spider-Man is? Like, that Spider-Man is Peter Parker?
Must, because I mean, the fact that she's talking to her like that at the party, maybe not. Maybe there's a relationship there I'm not aware of. Maybe not, because like, she isn't someone I thought knew who Pete.
Yeah, like, I didn't think their circles crossed. Let's say
no,
but she got the party for Peter Parker at least.
The only person, though, like Felicia, the only person that she acknowledges is somebody else that they also know that he's Spider-Man, though, was Jay Jonah. So maybe you're right. Maybe Bobby doesn't know that.
Does Jay Jonah Jameson know he's Spider-Man?
Yes, he does now. Yes, that was that was established a little while ago.
That was
Unless,
sometime like in the Spencer run,
yeah,
or even before that.
that's why. No, it was Chip Zdarsky had Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. He did like 20 issues of a series. I think at the same time as or just before Nick Spencer's run was going on, and in one of those issues, there was a great one-shot issue where Jay Jonah finally found out that Spider-Man was Peter, and that storyline led into the Nick Spencer stuff. Like then Nick Spencer kind of played with the idea of them knowing who each other are finally as well, which was really interesting. So yeah.
And I like seeing the Sinister Six there. I thought all those guys were fun.
Yeah.
And, the kind of the way they all tried to fight together, and then then they turn tails on Spider-Man pretty quick, and those octopus arms there. Thought that was all interesting stuff. That was fun, all those little side stories. None of them are super special, but they're all nice reads.
I love this issue. I absolutely love this issue. Like, I mean, like, even though like this is like this issue 900, and maybe you thought it would have had like a more big deal type of story or something, if this, you know what I mean? Like, but this had everything that I look for probably in a Spider-Man story. This did serve as a nice one and done as well. In a way, they focused on this guy, the Living Brain, which was originally introduced in Amazing Spider-Man #8. Real deep cut. And now he's like, I guess, formed into more of like a humanoid form, and he abducts the Sinister Six and basically takes all of their powers and makes like a super adaptoid, which is a character that's been in Fantastic Four and stuff like that. Like basically like a formation of all of the Sinister Six members.
Yeah, what the inputs is that they were called there.
Yeah,
it's funny how they're all still arguing amongst each other inside his head.
Yeah. But yeah, I love the banter of all of them together as they were like, prisoners of the Living Brain.
Yeah.
And like you said, I loved the aspect of him asking over and over again, who is Spider-Man? Who is Spider-Man? And at first you think he's just trying to figure out the
I like that swerve. He
just
wanted to know who he was, but he wanted to know like what is the essence of Spider-Man, let's say.
Right. And he learns that by the end. I'm actually not going to spoil it. I mean, I won't say essentially why. Like, I don't know if the art's going to show it here, but I won't say what his reasoning was when he finally figure out like who Spider-Man is, or more so what he stands for. Like, who is this person, right?
Yeah.
But let's just say he wasn't looking for his identity. So I really dug that. Like, that felt like classic true we've been enjoying reading Spider-Man again now. I think this run has been great so far, but this is the one issue finally where I was just like, this hit like, everything that I look for probably in a Spider-Man story. Like, and great art. Ed McGuinness is somebody who doesn't do interiors all that often, and so I'm sure he's been working on this for a while, because it was like 80 pages or something in here, like, or 70 for the main story, I think they said, for this one. So I thought the art looked great. I thought it was a well put together story. And hit all the notes that I look for in a classic Spider-Man story. And man, I need this happening. This Black Cat and him, I need this to happen, man. I'm kind of rooting for this right now, because
I think it will. I think they're trying to get rid of Mary Jane for whatever reason. Like Mary Jane's not in the MCU movies. And maybe they're like, maybe they're trying to push a Black Cat movie down there, and they got to get her freaking up to #1 again. Like they've already had Mary Jane Watson in the movies. She's done. How many times are they going to bring her back?
Yeah.
So I'm down for a Black Cat Spider-Man romance. Yeah. And then watch out for those jealous arms.
That's right. I liked that. Yeah, that he made friends with Ox Arms. And then, you had a couple of backup stories. And you know what? I actually enjoyed the backup stories.
This one was a fun little quick read here with when he's trying to return those library books.
Yeah, I liked that. And he had an excuse for like each book. Yeah, he obviously out to like learn about his like foes and stuff like that. I liked that one. And this was weird, the Jimmy Kimmel one.
Yeah. I don't know why Jimmy Kimmel's there, but no, maybe Jimmy Kimmel knows somebody there or something.
And this was a nice little like one pager of a day in the life of Spider-Man. By Dan Slott. So
that's back in the day too, with Betty Brant, and he was trying to go to the high school dance or something.
Yeah. So man, I dug it. I absolutely love this issue. I was really happy with this one. So what'd you give it then, Chris?
Well, now we're talking. I'll give it a 4.5. I did like it a lot, though.
5.
5. The only reason I'm not giving it a 5 It's just because it's not freaking. It's not like my 5 is freaking Venom 300 or Spider-Man 300, where that's like a big thing happened in continue of the story. It wasn't like some, like this is basically a one shot they just threw into Spider-Man number 900, and they got a whole bunch of freaking one shots coming on.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I think for that reason, though, I thought it was super successful. I was actually okay with it being a one and done storyline about the true essence of who Spider-Man is. Like that's
for 900, they should have explained what the hell happened in that fucking explosion. Why Mary Jane is fucking kids. Why they're not talking. That would have freaking put this through the roof, and they could have sold this for Amazing Fantasy 1000 or whatever they're going to do, or their Amazing Spider-Man 60th anniversary issue. There's a lot of questions going on in this run here, and freaking, I want to know what the hell is happening. And they've made me sweat now for what, 2-3 months? And now they got.
But are you not still enjoying the book? I'm thoroughly enjoying the book, even
without. No, I love this issue. I thought this issue is great.
Oh, what does it matter?
You can't fucking start a run with a big explosion. So what the hell did I do? And then not talk about it, and then jump 6 months, and you end up with freaking Mary Jane with like 6-year-old kids or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
otherwise, I'm liking the run, and this payoff better be freaking super spectacular.
Yeah,
amazing, spectacular in a wild web. But there
you have it.
I'm liking it though. I did like it.
I loved it. Yeah, no, it was great. So, all right. So, very quickly in the news, let's talk about some SDCC announcements, some stuff that came out of San Diego Comic-Con this past week. Some comic announcements here. I got a few pulled up here, which I'll mention just to remind myself here. So one of them that came out is, which would interest Chris, because he's been an ongoing reader, as well as me. I might just jump on for the ending of this run, because I seem to have read 3/3 of all the Avengers stuff and then jump ship during Jason Aaron's time on the book. But they just announced Avengers Assemble Alpha, which is going to kick off the biggest Avengers story ever in the end of Jason Aaron's run on the Avengers, which is basically going to combine all of his storylines, I guess, all the threads from everything he did, all the way from Avengers BC that he's been talking about since the start of this Avengers run, 60 something issues ago, as well as Avengers Forever. And
if these people assemble, there's going to be a shit ton of people here. You're going to have like this army of free Steves. You're going to have, I don't know, that Black Panther running around. You're going to have a bunch of Ghost Riders coming along.
Yeah.
And never mind even what's going on in the regular Avengers. That the Ghost Rider, the Ghost Samurai, and the Sergeant Supreme or something a couple issues ago.
Yeah,
and then you got a ton of crazy Mephistos out there too. So it'd be fun to see them finally battle. And I just hope it's not done in a one issue thing. This is something I want to see stretched out a little bit too. But we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know if they mentioned how long it's going to be here, but it's probably going to be like the last arc. So I would think it could, at least 5-6 issues or something. So yeah, or I guess this is its own spin-off series that's going to be probably going alongside Avengers and Avengers Forever if it's still happening at that time, although that might be wrapped up by then, because this comes out in November. That Brian Hitch on art, which I'm all right with. He's been doing some good work lately. So yeah, I'm going to read this with you, because I do want to read this. I am interested to see how he wraps all this stuff up. I might just go back and read the rest of it digitally just to catch up and kind of, get where you're at now. But it's still going to be a big undertaking. Like with Avengers Forever and that, I probably have about 30 issues of material to read to catch up. I got time if it comes out in November. So.
Well, you don't need to read them. You just got to know that these people are out there, really.
Yeah. No, but
and then if you find out, if you're interested in them when you read it in this, you can also go back and find out which issues they were kind of spotlighted or highlighted in.
Yeah, that's very true. So that's one piece of news that came out. Sorry, are you looking forward to that, Chris? Or
yeah, looking forward to that. And there's some other stuff too, but we'll go kind of run through it and see what we got.
Yeah, another big one for a lot of people was the fact that Todd McFarlane and Jim Lee were at San Diego Comic-Con to announce that they're coming out with another Spawn Batman, which originally they had done already in the 90s. That was with McFarlane on art, and I think, was it Frank Miller? Maybe it was Frank Miller, or maybe it was him writing it too. I don't know, but yeah, that was the original one. They did two, actually. They did two back in the 90s. The second one was not as successful. McFarlane wasn't involved in that one, I don't think, but they did one basically where like Spawn went to the DC universe, and then they did one where Batman went to the Image universe where Spawn was. I think that was the McFarlane one, drawn one, which at the time was pretty successful. I own the issues for both. But this is with Greg Capullo on art. Greg Capullo has been associated with Batman after his Scott Snyder run with the New 52. He's a fan favorite, I think, of drawing Batman at this point. So I thought this is pretty fun. Again, this happens in November. I'm gonna pick this up.
Oh yeah, definitely pick it up. So supposedly, from what I heard, is they have a third story ready in the can from back in the 90s, but I don't think they're rehashing that one. They're going to come up with a new story, from what I read, at least.
Sorry, I said November. It's December 2022. It comes so at the end of the year, it's coming out. Yeah. So, oh yeah, and they also did. That's right. I just was reading in the article here. They also mentioned that they did a crossover of Spawn Spider-Man back in the day. That's right. I did read that. That was good. I have that issue as well. That's a fun one. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Greg Capullo is great. I think McFarlane's writing it, so I'm less excited for that. But we'll
Unless
see.
he's been thinking about it for a while and he's got a great idea that he's just got to get out there. But somehow I just see cash grab. But
yeah, so this is the third meeting. It says here, yeah. So the first one was written by Frank Miller and Todd McFarlane on art, published by Image, followed up by Batman Spawn. First it was Spawn Batman, then it was Batman Spawn War Devil. Not as good. If you guys are looking in the bins for these issues, don't pick up that one. I just suggest picking up the McFarlane Frank Miller one. This one is written by Alan Grant, Chuck Dixon, Doug Munch, and Klaus Janson on art. That one was not as good, I would say. I mean, if you're interested, the cool thing about it was, I will say that they kept this going in continuity in the Image series for quite some time, and maybe still, I don't know. Maybe you've noticed this, Chris, if you've read more Spawn lately. And here I am fucking wearing a Spawn shirt. There was in the crossover, Batman threw a batarang and sliced Spawn's, like he scarred his face. And then in the comic series, he continued on with that scar on his face for some time after that meeting. So I thought that was pretty neat. Like that they kind of continued that, and they counted it in a sense, like it was in continuity.
Yeah, that means it happened.
Yeah.
I know. You think there's going to be some sort of Spawn Batman fusion there, which seems to be the trend nowadays?
Maybe. I don't know. It says here that War Devil, though, is going to be re-released on the 15th of November and Batman Spawn on the 13th of December. So if you guys don't have those issues, they're reprinting them. So I didn't know about that till I read this article. So very cool. So, are these new? Are you thinking of picking those up?
I would put the reprints. I'm not big on the reprints, but maybe I'll read them anyway just to get up to speed.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, clearly, I guess they're trying to continue some sort of storyline of these guys having met up previously, right? So I think that's what's happening here. So yeah, maybe there'll be some sort of combination of the two, right? Some fusion between these two characters. I don't know. But yeah, that was what I had in terms of news. I mean, there was some.
Well, they have the Dark Web too, though. That seems to be something I'll be interested in there with Ben Riley and Madeline Pryor kind of coming together. Looks like we can get some of the X-Men and Spider-Man crossing paths.
Yeah, Dark Web by Zeb Wells and Adam Kubert spins off Gold Goblin in December. So yeah, that's another thing entirely, I guess. Yeah, an event between all the Spider-Man books and stuff like that, right? Dark Web. So that should be pretty interesting. Also, like I mentioned at the top of the show, we just did a review of the Last Ronin hardcover, me and Peter. IDW Comics just announced that they're doing a sequel of sorts, I guess in the same world, TMNT Last Ronin, or same time period, because it's a future tale, The Last Ronin. It's about the last of the turtles that's alive. So I won't spoil that for you guys out there now if you haven't heard about it already, but I guess they're going to be doing another series called The Lost Years, which I think may have been the lead up to maybe that point in time that we read the previous series, like what basically led to that last
Ronin,
yeah, which it got a lot of timeline to kind of work with, so it should be interesting. And yeah, and then one more quick one here is as I mentioned, they're doing a Doctor Strange I think 4-issue miniseries called Fall Sunrise with Trad Moore writing and drawing it. He was the artist last seen on Silver Surfer Black with Donny Cates. He's a fantastic artist, a guy that really I'm excited by his work. It's unlike anybody else's really in the comic industry today. So I'm really excited for that. I think he's a perfect fit for that. His art's probably gonna do a lot of trippy things I could see in line for Doctor Strange. And lastly, out of the things that I made note of here, although it's not an official announcement in terms of like them announcing what book he's working on, Hickman he was on a panel there and they've announced that he's going to be working on something in 2023. This will be his first gig post X-Men for Marvel. He's going to be with artist Valerio Schiti, not shitty, and that's in 2023. And he says the tagline that they put out there right now says, "What happens when the powers that be meet the natural order of things?" And he said it's going to be like his Sandman for the Marvel universe. So I don't know what the fuck that means or what characters he's going to be using.
Yeah.
But if it's Hickman, I'm going to be checking it out. So I'm hyped for that too, to hear that he's going to continue working with Marvel. So
yeah, I'll probably check that out too, see what he's up to.
Yeah. Anything else on your end that you had, or that's
No,
about it?
I did pick up this here, just my local LCS. It's a what's it? Dark Knight Death Metal 1. Hey, they gave me cover price. Not too bad.
Nice cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, throw that off.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that's just some of the announcements that came out from San Diego Comic-Con. There was a lot of stuff though. Just can't cover it all, obviously, on this show. But we're gonna actually just hop into now showing off the comic solicitations for October 2022 for DC Comics. I know previously last week we looked at Marvel, so let's take a quick look at DC. And I was just scrolling through DC's earlier today, man. I gotta tell you, there's a lot that I'm looking to pick up in October for DC. There's a lot. Hold on, I'm on the screen there twice. Yeah.
You're time traveling there, Nico.
Hold on. I'm just gonna share my screen here. Just give me a second here.
Don't worry, you got a couple angles there. Not too bad.
Yeah, man. Oh, hold on. I gotta remove myself here. Hold on. Which one am I? Okay. So it's the one. There we go. I fixed it. I fixed the time stream there for you guys. All right. So shout out to comicreleases.com, I think is the website's name. They always do a good job of putting these solicitations together, as well as like they update the release dates as things get pushed back constantly these days on their website. This is a really good source to look for this kind of stuff. So shout out to comicreleases.com. This is kind of where I use now for our episodes. Good source to have. So I'll just go past all the trades and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of stuff coming out from DC that I'm digging this month, it looks like. So I mean, I'm almost up to 20 issues, I feel like. I don't know. It's overtaking Marvel's for me these days in terms of the stuff they've been putting out. It's weird. All right. So first up, Batman 128. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to take a look at some of the covers here. Oh, that's a nice one. That's Jock, who just did that one Dark Knight I just mentioned. Clayface. Okay. Then you got
the second cover.
Yeah, the Riddler Year One. I don't think so. This is number one. This is written by Paul Dano, the guy who played him in the new Batman movie. I have no interest in. They're gonna go with I mean, look, they're going with his version of the Riddler.
Yeah, film. I didn't really like that Riddler in the movie, anyways.
Right. Well, I didn't mind
it. Good in the movie, but hey, it's not a Riddler.
I don't need to read this actor's take on the character to call them.
Who are you?
Yeah. Batman One Bad Day Penguin. I probably might read this one online digitally. I'm
gonna try and read these online too. I'm not too jazzed about them.
I committed to the last two, the one that was Riddler and there was a Two-Face one or something, but this creative team, I'm not completely sold on it. Maybe. I mean, it's gonna be a game time decision, I think, this one for me, depending if I like the other ones, because if not, though, I'll read this online because I do like the concept of the One Bad Day thing, but I don't know. I can't be buying them all. I don't know how many of these they're going to do. I thought they were just doing the one, right? Now there's like every month there's one, right? So anyways, the Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing, number one. I like the creative team on this, so I'm going to probably check this one out.
The cover there. I don't know. Joker covers are always good. Maybe that Joker Harley Quinn I might get.
Yeah, that's a cool one. Takes off his mask to reveal another Joker. It's a Joker mask. Yeah. No, I think I'll be picking this one up. It doesn't say here if it's a one shot or not, though. It looks like it's a one shot. It's 40 pages. It doesn't say like one of, unless this is like an ongoing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, that last Joker series, I only bought it for covers, but I ended up buying them because it was a good story in there.
All right. Punchline, the Gotham game, #1.
Yeah, I'll probably be picking this up.
I don't think so. I'm not completely. These are nice covers, though. I'm not.
Yeah, for the covers alone, and see what this Punchline character is all about.
Oh,
Like
wow.
there,
Yeah.
two or
Nice.
three of these ones are already like there. That's another nice one. Like 3.
Yeah. Got some good covers.
Even the crappy cover's good.
1 of 6. This is a mini series.
Yeah.
Then you got Harley Quinn, the animated series, Legion of Bats. No. Just skipping on.
No.
Batman Gotham Knights, Gilded City, #1. No. I mean, listen,
Enough.
I'm part of the problem here because I probably do read like 8 Batman titles, but DC, that's a criticism they're getting a lot these days. And it's absolutely true. Half their fucking 60% of their publishing line are Batman books or Batman spin-off character books. And like, and they put all their top talent on these titles because they think Batman's going to sell, and it does sell the best. But the problem is, I can't read it. I have no interest in reading like 30 fucking Batman books. I read a lot of them to begin with, but it's because they put all the good talent on these books. How about out a little bit? Honestly, like this is getting ridiculous here. Like we've already done like 20.
How long has this guy been alive for? Jesus Christ.
And that being said, this is what I'm picking up. Gotham City, year 1. Tom King's new Batman book. Again, he's going to do another Batman book. This is a 6-issue miniseries, but I like the idea of this. The Gotham is kind of focused more on like I think it's more about like the Gotham police department type shit. So I'm down for this. Gotham City, year 1. How about you, Chris?
I might pass on this, but who knows?
Yeah. This is something I said previously I would pick up. I don't know. Batman Incorporated, #1. Chris called them a bunch of bums.
Yeah, I'm not liking them. I don't like this Ghost Rider, Ghost character, whatever.
Yeah, Ghostmaker.
Yeah.
Again, game time decision for me.
What is good?
I do like
empty hammer pants.
I do like the creative team on it, so we'll see. I don't know what the fuck this is. GCPD, the Blue Wall, #1. I'm good. 6-issue miniseries. Now, this was actually the piece of news we didn't mention that came out of the SDCC, which is fucking ridiculous. They announced at SDCC that now Dark Crisis has been all along in disguise. Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths.
So does that mean it's not really in continuity then, or?
It is, but the fact...
But it isn't.
I think it's one of those things where this probably hasn't been selling as well as they expected. And they're like, let's jazz it up and say it's been an Infinite Earth story all along, right? Like I mean, the fact that it had Crisis in the title already, everyone already assumed that it was.
Yeah, you could have just left it as Dark Crisis. I don't think adding Infinite Earths is going to sell anything. And, it was getting its legs, as time was going on.
I've just never seen a publisher backpedal halfway through the fucking event and change the name. Like, what is that?
They just stuck to Dark Crisis unless the rest of this thing is just really crap. But, like I say, I've been liking the first couple of issues and I was looking forward to it. This makes me look forward to it less, not more.
Same. I've surprisingly been enjoying it too. As you know, both issues have been my favorites of the week when we talked about them. So, like...
Yeah, like, they got to realize that Justice League freaking one sucked. And then, anyways, go on.
Dark Crisis, the Deadly Green, #1. I think this is a Swamp Thing thing. I'm not going to read that.
Yeah, supposing Swamp Thing and Superman merge here.
What?
Yeah.
Maybe I will read this online or something.
I might be picking this one up just for that.
I didn't know that. See, I didn't know about that. I was just like not interested in it, but okay. That's a one shot. Dark Crisis, Worlds Without Justice League, Green Arrow. Yeah. Probably not, but cool. Dark Crisis, Young Justice. This miniseries is continuing. It's number 5 of 6. No. Flashpoint Beyond. Yeah, I'll continue with this.
Yep.
You're continuing with that one, yeah.
Well, like I said, I haven't been ordering it online or putting it in my solicitation when I order. I just thought I'd be trying to pick them up, but I'm liking that Flashpoint Beyond. I bet I should be putting it in personally.
Yeah. Superman, Son of Kal-El, number 16. No. Action Comics 1048. You'll be sticking with this one, Chris?
Yeah, I'll see what his next story. Oh, I guess the next storyline's with I guess crossover with Jonathan Kent there.
Here's The Rock. This is
Well, we'll see. I might be dropping Action Comics unless they got a good story coming along again.
Yeah. Wonder Woman, Historia, The Amazons, no. DC's Terrors Through Time, #1. I think it's like probably a Halloween anthology because it's October, so probably not. Maybe I'll read it digitally. I just don't love anthologies that much. Here we go. DC Horror presents Sergeant Rock, Army versus Army of the Dead. I think we're checking this.
And you know who this is? This is written by Bruce Campbell, eh?
Yeah, from exactly from from
Hercules or Xena. That's where I remember him from. Like Sam Raimi's brother, I think.
Well, Sam Raimi's the director of did Evil Dead. That's
and he is from Evil Dead.
That's what I mean. He acted in that. Yeah.
But third were an actor that I'd like to see what he writes.
And he was the hot dog guy that just in the Doctor Strange magic. Yeah. And the Doctor Strange movie because Sam Raimi directed that one, right? So that's a little continuity thing for you there as well, right? Absolutely. Deceased, War of the Undead Gods.
Yep. Yeah. These are thick covers all around.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Nice. Yeah, nice covers. Static, Shadows of Dakota, no. Batman versus Robin 2. You said you're out on this. I'm picking this up.
I'll see, but I'll see what I kind of got going on at the time.
Yeah. I'll be picking this one up. Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries #1.
Oh, yeah, of course. No.
They're relaunching that. You know, Scooby-Doo's fun, but that's cool. All age comic they're putting out there. Batgirls 11, no. Batman Night Watch. What the hell is that? I don't even know this. There's so many Batman titles now. Batman Superman World's Finest. Yes. So we're gonna continue reading this, I assume. Yeah. Nice covers on this too. #8. Batman Beyond the White Knight 6. Yes.
Yeah.
8. Take a look at these covers. These are always bangers.
Yeah.
Batman Fortress, no. Batman the Audio Adventures 2, no. Jesus. Batman the Night 10. Yes, this is the last issue of the series. This has been great. So, he's got a samurai sword there. Interesting. Batman Urban Legends 20, no. Black Adam 5, no.
No.
Black Adam Justice Society Files Dr. Fate #1. I like Dr. Fate, but no.
Maybe that Pierce Brosnan there cover, but who knows?
Oh yeah,
maybe.
I mean, I like Dr. Fate, so I mean, I guess he's gonna be in the new Black Adam movie. Blood Syndicate Season 1 #6. No. Catwoman.
No, I'll be taking Catwoman.
Nice.
Probably that second cover. Is that that Sozomaki or whatever? It's pretty hot covers.
Nice. DC versus Vampires 10 #12. Yes.
Nice. Ooh, what's that second one?
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah. DC versus Vampires All Out War #4. Yeah.
What goes up to 4? Jesus Christ.
I told you it goes up to
3.
Goes up to
6.
I told you that last episode. You said 3 then too. I was like, no, it's 6. That's the one you didn't like as much. Read it digitally if you don't.
I might have to read that digitally too. Like
DC Mech, no. Deathstroke Inc.
There's some crazy stuff going in that DC Mech, but
I know. Robots. You're gonna.
It's all good hype.
You're gonna continue with Deathstroke, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's a cool cover. Look at that. Halloween trick or treat.
Yeah, trick or treat.
Possibly gonna continue with Detective at this point, depending what happens over the next couple of issues.
These covers aren't selling it to me at all either.
Yeah. I don't know. This Ram V guy, like I've liked some of his stuff, but like he's been hyped up about like a lot. Like, and I don't know if it's like I haven't been digging his stuff as much as everyone else. It seems like like he came up really fast and like people seem to like his work, but he hasn't completely sold me. He's not a writer that I'll read everything he puts out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like there's some writers I will, but
he's kind of run out of ideas, or he's just spending too long stretching his ideas out.
Yeah, Duo 6, no. Fables 156, no. Future State Gotham 18, no. Harley Quinn 23, yes. I'll be picking this up. This is past the monthly event.
Yeah, I might put that second cover.
Yeah, nice covers.
Even that cover there, but I think that's like a 1 in 50 or something. That last one.
It is, yeah. The last two.
Nah,
but this
too bad.
This one's a basic one. That's a nice one.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
I Am Batman 14. No. Mad Magazine. Watch out. 70th anniversary issue. Monkey Prince number 7. Multiverse.
How is Monkey Prince still even out there? But anyways, guess somebody's buying it.
Multiversity Teen Justice number 5. Nightwing 97. Yes.
I like that cover. That's a nice one.
Nice cover, yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely. That's a regular cover. That's
nice. That's the A cover. It's good when they freaking do a sweet A cover.
Yeah, Poison Ivy 5. Yes,
I'll be following that along.
So unless something changed, I thought this was originally a miniseries, but it doesn't say like 5 of 6 here. Is this an ongoing now?
I thought it was a miniseries as well. Like, I thought it was like a 6-issue run, but we'll see.
I don't know, but it doesn't have it here in the solicit anymore. So maybe they changed it. I don't know. Maybe it's selling well. Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Superman, that's a reprint of number 1. Sword of Azrael, number 3. Another Batman related book, The Flash 77. No to all that. The Flash, Fastest Man Alive, number 2. No. Human Target, number 8. Yes. I'll be picking this up. Yeah, definitely picking this up.
Yeah, maybe I'll.
That's a nice cover. Of course, that's
good.
1 out of 25, of course. Jurassic League number 6. This is the last one of this series. Whoa, look at this cover.
I might get that A cover. I like that one there with that is that like a Venom homage?
Yeah, I like the dark side looking one. That's kind of cool. I like that. Yeah, new champion of Shazam number 3. No. Nice House on the Lake 11. This series is really good. This is a 12-issue series, so it's almost done. I read the first trade of this Nice House on the Lake. This is written by James Tynion. Really good. Really good. Tim Drake, Robin number 2. Probably pick this up. Yeah, I'm gonna be picking up the first issue. We'll see. Yeah, I think I'm in for the first issue. Titans United, Blood Pack, no. Wonder Woman, no. Young Justice Targets 4, no. All right, that's gonna do it for that. And very quickly, just one more thing here. Would have been good if I kept that open. I closed it. 1 second. Just quickly wanted to mention like 2 Image titles that are coming out that I would check out. Let's see here. Image. Oh, he actually has not updated it for Image as of yet. So I'll just tell you, there's a comic coming out by Wes Craig, the artist of Deadly Class, has worked on that like the last several years. He's writing and drawing his own comic called Kea. That's coming out, Kea number 1. And Chris, if you're looking for more like war-related comics, there's one called Junkyard Joe that's coming out that they're saying that's going to be like Sergeant Rock meets something else. Like it's a spin-off character from the other series I was reading by Jeff Johns coming out of Image called Geiger. Remember that I was talking about that book? He's a character that's spinning out of that storyline that they're doing a mini series of. And looking at the art, it looks like a straight up war comic of like this like half cyborg man type thing. And they said it's like going to be like Sergeant Rock type stuff. And the art looks good. And the story, and it looks
maybe I'll give it a chance. That's one comic I fell off of. Is Noctera. I don't know if they just stopped printing. Like I guess I just don't see it out there anymore.
There's a one shot also in this solicits for October from Image. So I think it's just been taking time to draw the next arc. I just actually read the second volume trade of that book. Actually, now you mentioned it recently, it just came out like a couple weeks ago. It's good. I like it. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's about it. I think that was all I wanted to mention was like a couple of nods to those number 1s that are starting from Image. And and speaking of what we're picking up in October, what are you picking up next week, Chris?
Ooh, next week, let's see. We got Edge of Spider-Verse coming out. The Immortal X-Men 5, Iron Man 22, Spider-Man 2099 5, maybe X-Men Red 5, Batman 126, or whatever Batman's at. Oh yeah, Batman 126, DC Vamp 8, Dark Crisis of the Infinite Universe, whatever they're calling it, 3, Harley Quinn 18, Poison Ivy 3, and Flashpoint Beyond 4. I'm not sure if I ordered it, but I might try and track it down if I didn't.
Flashpoint Beyond comes out next week?
I thought I saw it there. Maybe not, though. I could be wrong.
Oh, okay. I don't have it on my list here. Maybe it does. If it is, I'm going to be reading that too. But Aquaman, Andromeda 2,
Wait,
Batman.
oh, I thought you were dropping that one. I guess.
I was talking about it, but I ended up buying the next one. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Batman 126. It's one of those things with these Black Label, sometimes they only do the 3 issues, and I'm like, oh, it's not a huge commitment. You know what I mean? So we'll see. Batman 126, Batman Killing Time number 6, which is the last issue of that series. Batman White Knight presents Red Hood number 1.
I might just read that online.
Okay. Dark Crisis 3. Yeah, so you know what? I think I just don't have it on my list, but Flashpoint Beyond comes out usually the same week as Dark Crisis. So I think you're right. I think it does come out next week. Yeah. DC versus Vampires 8. Harley Quinn 18. That's a huge week for me. And then, yeah, like you said, or at least for DC, Flashpoint Beyond, if that comes out. Then I got Immortal X-Men number 5. Now X-Men Red number 5, because that's
gonna be a big one too. I think you might find out what happened. I guess in Judgment Day, because like it looks like that Mars got wiped out.
Yes.
At least in Judgment Day.
Yeah. So that should be good to see the fallout of what happened there. Little Monster 6 and Scumbag 14, which is the last issue of that series. Yeah, so there you have it. That's what we're picking up next week, guys. Tune in next week to hear us talk about those. And finally, our favorite book of the week, folks. I think me and Chris might have the same one this week.
I think so too.
Pretty clear to me in terms of what mine is. Yeah. It was great. Like I said, I was really happy with this full package, and I think although it may not be as big of a deal as Chris wanted.
No, I think it's a big deal, but it was like this was a one shot on its own. I like seeing like you say, just the banter with the Sinister Six when they're all locked up. They're all being freaking pompous asses, and then they decide to just kind of all, I guess, submit to Spider-Man freeing him, like Kraven. If you free me, then I'll be honor bound to fight by your side. And then it's like, okay, we gotta whatever, kill the Brain. It's easy there. Now we're gonna fight against you. They freaking turn on a dime, these bums. Like, I know, it's like they're senile, they're senile old seniors, and freaking Spider-Man is just trying to freaking keep them in line.
Classic Spidey, man. That's all it is. This is that being said, you could actually just pick up this issue, guys. You don't have
you don't need it's not in continuity. There's no
there's no lead in really, like the events that led into this issue are subtle, and you don't really need to know, it's not picking up on any previously established storylines other than where he's currently at in his life in this. So yeah, it's really good. I will say this though, shout out to this as a runner-up this week. This was also pretty good and different for a Superman comic, so I wanted to give that a shout out as well. But yeah, clear winner for Spider-Man this week. After I read that, I was probably like halfway through my stack. I read that and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be hard to beat for me.
That was the first comic I wanted to read. I did want to read it. They gotta stop making freaking Peter Parker such a chump too. I know he's supposed to be bad luck Parker. You got the Parker curse, but it can be a little bit more subtle. It doesn't have to freaking slap you in the face all the time.
Right. No, I hear
you. Give this guy a break, man. 900 issues. He's got to get a break once in a while.
Right. Well, we'll see.
I don't think we'll see.
That being said, though, guys, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in as always. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit us up in the comments, hit the notification bell to be notified of when these things drop, and that thumbs up button. Thanks again. Thank you to Chris as always. And
all right, thank you.
See you guys next week. Later.
All right, cheers.